Your boy is alive. I have to start with that. Normally, I know I say it's a brother's got next and blah, blah, blah. We do the intro. But, just want to tell the audience I've been sick for the past couple weeks. It was a little serious at one point, but I am okay. Thanks to all my close friends and family and my co-hosts to checking on me and making sure I was good. But we're back. I am feeling a lot better. I'm not 100%, but, as always, I tell you guys all the time, I love doing this show. Every week I look forward to it, and we've been gone for about a couple weeks. So when I talked to the partner here, I said, it's time to get back on, even though I'm not 100%, but I'm here. So I'm alive.
Yeah, man, it's good to have you back.
It's a blessing, yeah. And with that being said, now I can say it's welcome to A Brother's Got Next.
Yes, sir.
I'm with my co-host Kwab. I'm Darian.
Like, whoa, Kwab? Why did I get the full name?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to be a government. I thought we were, because we got some big things. We got some advice. We got to start being more, I guess, more. What's the word I'm looking
Formal?
for?
What's the word?
More, not punctual, but more like astute, or more like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you rarely call me Kwab.
Yeah, I know. I normally don't call you by your government, but we got some big things coming. We got some advice from some people saying like we got to be more traditional and more. I guess I don't want to say professional because I feel like we are professional, but just more je ne sais quoi, as you could say.
I usually get Kwab when somebody's upset at me.
Oh, is that?
I think Maya called me.
Okay. I know. I know. I don't go off this. Now, when the wife gets mad at you, what does she say? What does she call it?
Yeah, Kwab. She just said
really?
She just said it like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, she be mad because she's mad at you. Oh, damn.
Remember in college?
In college, when girls used to tell me that they were mad at you. I'm like, well, what? Like, first of all, I don't care, and like, why don't you tell him that? Like, why are you mad at him?
Well, like it was never. You never got a legit reason. Like,
no, never. And I was like, well, why are you mad at him?
What they say? They'd be like,
"Cause." Yeah, they were like, no. Like one time, it was like, oh, so he didn't say hi to me. Like, okay, like, well, did you see him? Like, it's 25,000 students that go to UNLV.
They'd be like, I'm mad at you. I'm like, well, what did I do?
Exactly. And I didn't like when they would ask me, and I'm like, well, why are you telling me this? Like, I can't do anything. Why don't you tell him? Yeah.
But the thing is, in college, like people always used to tell us stuff about each other. People be like, "Yeah, Darian," he'd be like acting all like grown now. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like he'd be drinking like wine. I'm like, oh dang, yeah, you were drinking wine at like 22. What was up with that?
Okay, first of all, it is still liquor, right? All right, so I'll say this. I forgot. I think it was my brother, my older brother. Shout out to Free, who we've had on the show. He's 7 years older than I am. So I think at the time he was like 30. So yeah, I was around 23, I think, at the time. And he was like on the wine kick. He was in his 30s and he was doing the wine thing, doing Malbec and now I'm blanking on the names of the wine. But he was really into red wine too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just started, he got me on. I was like, let me just start drinking it. Let me try it. And I started liking it a little bit. I was like, oh, yeah, it's not bad. You know what I mean?
I will give you props though, because you were kind of an innovator, because you were doing things early on. You were drinking Grand Marnier. I was like, yo, what is that? And then and I like it now. That's one of my favorite drinks now. 20 years later.
So shout out to Alan with that one. Who's the one that does our intros. A lot of the music you hear on our show is done by Alan. Yeah, Alan was the one that put me onto that because he was still living in New York. I remember I went out with him one night and he ordered it. He said, "Hey, let me get a Grand Marnier and a rock." So I asked him, "Hey, what is that?" And he said, I remember he said he was like, "It's a liqueur." He was trying to be all like, with it. So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I tried it and I was like, "Oh, this is real smooth," because now with Grand Marnier, you have to be able to sip it. You can't. That's not a jug.
Yeah, that's a slow drink.
It's a slow drink, yeah, because it's smooth. So if you take it to the head, it can kind of.
Yeah, that drink is very like, yo, give it to me on the rocks. That's like a nice little drink to last me about 30 minutes. I love it. Yes. You got some at the crib? So I'm gonna see you this weekend. You got some?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
When we come back, yeah. So yeah, what he's talking about, we're gonna tease it a little bit. Tomorrow night, myself and the partner.
And we're recording this on a Thursday, by the way.
Yeah, we're recording this on a Thursday. Yeah, we're tomorrow night, and we're going with some other friends, actually friends of the show. We're going to the Wizards game tomorrow. to see them play the Magic. And Shaq Diesel actually, he's DJing. He's not playing obviously because he's been retired, but he's DJing after the game.
First of
So
all, if he was playing, he'd look terrible.
yes, he would. But yeah. So we're going to see the Wizards game. We'll be chronicling, kind of our outing as we did with the Pittsburgh Steelers game. So I'll take some pics, some videos. I think we got some pretty good seats. Wasn't hard to get. The Wizards are not a very good team, as everybody knows.
I mean, they're arguably the worst team in the league.
I don't think it's arguable. I think it is like.
Well, hold up though. Let me look at the standings. They might be the worst.
Are they record wise?
I'm about to look it up right now. All right, so they're 15 and 53.
Yeah, so they're the worst. Yeah,
they're not. The what's it called? Not too far behind. They're awful. The Jazz. They're terrible.
They've been bad for like a while. Well, they've both been bad for a while.
And 54. You know what's crazy though? So I think there's about 17 games left. The Wizards have 17 games. They're still not eliminated from playoff contention.
That's insane. But the Jazz are.
Yeah, the Jazz are eliminated. Quite a few teams in the East.
The Wizards beat the Nuggets in Denver the other night. Like, I know Poole hit like a game winner. I was like, oh, like, how'd that happen?
Yeah. The Nuggets are kind of weird. Like, they can have any night where they beat anyone, then they can, like, lose to anyone.
Yeah. But, that's the NBA. Like, any given night, even bad teams sometimes can beat a good team. And you're kind of like, because so many games, 82 games, that's going to happen. So, but yeah, man. Anyway, Kwab, we've been away for a while. Obviously, as I stated, in the beginning of the show, a lot of stuff has happened since we've been gone, especially NFL free agency. Boy, I would have to say right now, even till this day, the biggest news in the NFL right now, I think, is who's going to be the Steelers' starting quarterback. Obviously, there's been reports for weeks, and supposedly, according to Antonio Brown on Twitter, that they're going to get Aaron Rodgers.
CTESPN?
Yeah, exactly. CTESPN.
Some people are like, yeah, that's like my number one news source. Like, okay, that should not be your news source.
No, it should not. But anyway, that Aaron Rodgers is going to be your quarterback. Also, there's obviously still a slight chance that Russell Wilson may also come back. I know he's met with the Browns. He's met with the Giants, but no decision has been made yet. And then you guys also picked up DK Metcalf and Darius Slay in the last 2 weeks. I love both, to be honest. I love the DK Metcalf one because I think it's a very team-friendly deal. It seems like a lot, but you guys, you gave us him right at market price. You didn't have to overpay him. You know what I mean? I know you traded for him, but you didn't have to overpay him. And you got Darius Slay, who's a vet. I think that's a great pickup. You know what I mean? And who just coming off a Super Bowl. And I still think he's still pretty productive. But yeah, let me just get your thoughts in the last couple of weeks with the Steelers. Let's start with DK Metcalf and Darius Slay as the signings. What did you think about those signings?
Yeah, I like the Metcalf deal a lot. It came out of nowhere. I didn't see that at all. Like I'm usually in tune with the Steelers insiders. I knew they wanted Detroit try to get another receiver. As we know, they couldn't get Brandon Ayuk last year. Mm-hmm. So I knew that going into this offseason, they were going to be really aggressive. But I thought it was going to come more in the draft because, this draft is going to have a lot of receivers. It's supposed to be a really heavy running back draft, which is one of the reasons why they let Najee Harris go to the Chargers. I knew that was going to happen. But yeah, I love the move. I mean, I don't think they're going to trade Pickens. So you do have two really strong personalities playing receiver. You're going to need a quarterback that knows how to handle those personalities. And I actually do think Russell Wilson is a guy. He's played with DK Metcalf before. He just finished playing with George Pickens, and George Pickens had a lot of productivity with Russell Wilson. So I think Russell Wilson makes a lot of sense now. Unfortunately, the Steelers are doing this waiting game that they're doing with Aaron Rodgers. He's probably sitting somewhere in the dark. You know how he is.
But they had a picture with him on the beach. Did you see that one? Where he was like, he had a blanket, and he was like, I guess they had him like he was like thinking. It was like one of those like,
he was thinking.
Yeah, well, he had like he was looking at the water, and they had him like. I'm like, first of all, how did he even get that perfect picture like that? I feel like that was like a setup. Like he was like, yeah, take a picture.
I'm not putting anything past that dude, man.
Oh yeah, like I totally think that was a setup. I totally.
Like, you ready? You got me?
Yeah, he had like a blanket on. He was just like looking at the ocean. Like, come on, bro. Come on.
Oh gosh. But anyway, so yeah, I do like the pickup a lot, as I mentioned. I'm just, who the heck's the quarterback going to be? Because if you don't get Rodgers, which I'm not crazy about it anyway, and then if somehow, let's say Russell Wilson is signed with the Giants or something, is Mason Rudolph your quarterback week one?
Are you okay with now? I mean, I don't know if you're okay with this, and I think a lot has to happen there. Maybe they have to trade up. Would you be okay with them drafting a quarterback?
I think they're going to anyway. Like,
Okay.
there's the guy that's really been on their radar is Jackson Dart, which,
Okay.
first of all, that's a
Which
great name.
I heard he's a sleeper. I heard he's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a great name for a quarterback,
Yeah.
Dart.
Excuse me. Yeah.
But he's a guy that every year there's that like hot shot dude that comes out of nowhere, and sometimes I'm a little wary of that. Like I remember Mitch Trubisky, for example, was one guy that like a few months before the draft you didn't really hear his name as much. Then all of a sudden he started coming out of nowhere.
Right.
That didn't really work out. But then you got guys like Josh Allen who started to get a lot of hype as the draft got closer. That worked out. Jackson Dart is an Ole Miss guy, so he's played against a lot of great competition. And he's a guy that I know the Steelers. Jalen Milroe is another guy who Alabama's quarterback who the Steelers seem interested in. I didn't catch a lot of college football this year, but I know that people that did watch weren't necessarily crazy about Jalen Milroe. He's not a guy that put up great numbers at Alabama, which is like usually cats put up pretty good numbers there. So it's not a strong quarterback draft. I don't even really love some of the top guys. Like I think Shador could be good. I don't think there's never a shoe in, but I wouldn't say I have a great feeling he's going to be great. And then same with Cam Ward. We'll see. None of these guys I'm like, oh man, I'm putting all my stock into this guy. So I think it makes sense for them to re-sign Russell Wilson. I don't know if waiting around is going to make that easier to do because Russell Wilson still has an ego, is still probably going to be, offended that he had to wait around this long. Rodgers I guess he says, I'm in no rush to make a decision. Like, bro, the draft is coming up. Like, teams need to know what they want to do. So I think it's a selfish move on his end. I say all that to say I hope they just roll with Russell Wilson. I'm not crazy about it, but I think they'll be competitive, and he has familiarity already with the guys there. So that's what I hope they do.
Gotcha.
What do you think, man? Do you like the addition for the Steelers?
I love the DK Metcalf move. Yeah, I did think I thought you guys would trade Pickens and maybe
They
get.
could still maybe in the draft.
Yeah, exactly. Because I like you said, it seems like this is a very heavy receiver draft as well. So if they were to trade Pickens, I think you guys can get a good two. And what Metcalf is obviously the one.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you keep Pickens, I still think Metcalf is still the one.
That's a great number 2 to have in Pickens.
Right, exactly. Pickens is a great number 2, which I really think he is. Like I thought for years, I think even on this show, I kept saying for years, he had the potential to be a 1 with all the spectacular catches he would make, going out of bounds.
He has one talent.
Right. He has one talent, but I don't know.
He's too with his inconsistency.
He doesn't have the one mentality as far as mentally, like, you know what I mean? And him putting in the work. So I think DK is that. We know what DK can do. He's proven it in Seattle that he's a 1. So, he's a great number 2 to have. So if you keep him, great. Like I said, I know you didn't talk about this a lot, but I love the Darius Slay move. I know he's a older corner, but I think he's going to be a very good vet and somebody that can really show Joey Porter Jr. how to really play that position. Because I think Joey Porter Jr. at some point can be at least a Pro Bowl caliber, corner. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer.
I do think so.
A lot of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. You can keep going. I'll give you my thoughts on him when you're done.
I look at Joey Porter Jr. kind of like when we had Terrence Newman. Remember Terrence Newman? Like everybody thought he was good, and he was always kind of snubbed for Pro Bowls, and then finally, like in the middle end of his career, he started making the Pro Bowl. And people was like, yeah, he's always been solid. I look at Joey Porter Jr. as that, but I think somebody like Darius Slay coming on there and really showing him what it takes to be a good corner in this league, he can take that next jump to being a Pro Bowler. Because I know you guys got rid of your other corner, right? He signed with the Panthers, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, you talking about what's his name? Jackson. Is it Deion Jack? No,
Deontay, right?
Well, Deontay Johnson was the receiver that signed with the.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was your receiver. Is the other corner still there?
No, he's gone. We only had him for a 1-year deal. Why am I forgetting where he went? I'll look it up, but you can keep going.
So I'm guessing Darius Slay will probably start along with Joey then.
Yes, that's what it's looking like. He'll probably be the other starting.
And I don't mind that. I don't know how you feel about. I don't mind that because, like I said, Darius Slay can still play now. He is older, and I know he's had some injury issues because even last year.
Jackson, by the way, he signed with the Chargers.
Chargers, right? Yeah, I know Darius Slay had some injury issues the last few years because he is older. I think he's 35. So, but like I said, he's still productive. You know what I mean? He reminds me a lot of when Stephon Gilmore came to us in Dallas. Remember a couple years ago? It was still productive, still played pretty well. Yeah, because I feel like Darius Slay is one of those guys when you guys play like those big time receivers, he can really, you know what I mean? He can still like have one of those games where maybe not shutting them down, but slowing those guys down. You know what I mean?
So a couple things. So Porter kind of had kind of a down year last year. Like I thought he had a great rookie year. My problem with Porter is he's a little too handsy. Like he had one game, he had 6 penalties. Like, bro, you can't get 6 penalties as a corner. So he still lacks some of the discipline. He's a little too handsy, a little too physical past, the 5-yard mark. Because he's great at like pressing the other receiver, but once they, get into the open field, he gets a little too grabby. Now they did bring in his rookie year, they had Patrick Peterson. They brought him in for that veteran leadership, and he learned a lot from him. He was a great leader. So this kind of reminds me of that situation once again, bringing in another veteran corner who can kind of teach him to be a little bit more disciplined. Now, Darius Slay is another very aggressive corner, especially in his prime. Like he'll go for the gusto. Like he's not afraid. Right. Now, that's another thing I like about Porter. A lot of his physicality comes from him being very aggressive. And aggressiveness is cool, but in today's NFL, like you got to be very crafty with your aggressiveness. You know what I mean? Because if you're just grabbing guys, you're going to get penalized for that. So he's got some things he needs to work on, but I still like him. He's a very big cornerback. I mean, you don't get too many 6'1", 6'2" corners. So he has, his wingspan is significant. He has the chance to be a number 1 corner, but there's still some things he definitely has to clean up. And like you said, maybe Slay can come in here and help him with that.
Yeah. And then I'll just finish with, I know, getting back to, what did I think about, I said, I love the DK Metcalf move. Everything you said is correct. Yeah, I don't really need to add on to that. But I'm with you, man. Please don't get Rodgers. I hope Russell Wilson.
No, I don't want that.
No. Because I just think, okay, here's the thing with Rodgers. One, he's already creating drama, and he hasn't even signed with you guys yet. That's one. Right. And then when he gets on the team, he's going to create drama because he himself is like a diva. Like, I was saying to myself, okay, maybe Tomlin's one of those guys because Tomlin's a great coach. He knows how to handle egos.
Yep.
I don't know if he can really handle Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career.
Well, because Rodgers isn't going to change. He is who
he is.
Right.
He's older. He's set in his ways. I don't think that's just it's just not a good combo. It's not a good, to me, relationship that's going to work. Not at this point. If he had got Aaron maybe like, maybe Aaron past his prime a little bit, maybe, or in his prime, yes, it maybe could work because I think Aaron still would have listened, but I don't think he's really going to listen to anybody at this point. He's going to do what he wants, you know what I mean? And I don't know how that's going to work with Arthur Smith and everything. Because Arthur Smith, I know he kind of likes Justin Fields a lot and how his QB play was.
Aaron Rodgers guys that can run.
Aaron Rodgers is a pocket quarterback at this point.
He can't run at all.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though Russell Wilson's old, Russell Wilson even runs a little more.
Can move a little bit better.
Right, move a little better. Yeah, so
I think Russ makes a lot of sense, man.
It does.
But I don't know if they're gonna do it. I thought he had some moments. Now they really kind of struggled towards the back end of the season. It wasn't just Russell's fault, but he also could have played better. I just feel like he's not. I don't think Rodgers is worth the ego. I don't think he's worth the. Now we got to wait around for him. Like, bro, you're not Josh Allen. You're not Patrick Mahomes. Like, we got to wait around for a 41-year-old quarterback. Like, make your mind up, bro. You've been playing this game for a long time. You're a veteran. You already know what you want to do. What are you delaying what are you delaying it all for? You saw, and you sent me the article too. I saw it before you sent it, but with Cameron Hayward, he's like, bro, you either want to be a Steeler or you don't. Like,
right.
I'm good on him. Now, if he ends up coming to the Steelers, do I think they'll be good? They can win 10 games. I mean, they've been winning 10 games every year anyway.
Right.
So, they're not a perfect team. I think Tomlin definitely has his flaws, but one thing we know in the regular season, they're going to win some games.
Right. I agree with you when you were talking about the familiarity, Russell Wilson's familiarity with DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it just makes sense because they have a close off-the-field relationship as been documented the last few weeks. Shout out to DK. Congratulations. He's engaged to Normani.
They put him on, like him and Sierra introduced.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of her, by the way, too. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I have zero chance, and I'm married. He's gay, but yeah, I'm a big fan.
I like how you had to point that out, though. I'm a big
Yeah,
fan.
zero chance, zero. But yeah, yeah. So, but I'm saying, I think when you're talking about familiarity and chemistry, that's what you want. You know what I mean? You want a quarterback who you just signed your number one receiver who has that relationship.
Right.
You
It
want
makes
that,
so much sense.
and he's already played with George Pickens for a year. I know it wasn't always the best relationship between him and Pickens, but I think you
It
give
was
him
fine. Pickens is going to be Pickens, though.
right,
Like,
but you give them another
yeah.
year under the belt. They can
Mhm.
now, you know what I mean, and you add DK. I think that relationship can actually be better. So, yeah, I think Russell makes sense.
DK and Pickens to worry about in the secondary is a lot, man.
It is. And
That's
you
a
were able to
lot.
keep your third receiver, right? Austin.
Calvin Austin. Calvin
Yeah.
Austin, he had that nice touchdown in the Steeler game we went to. Real
Right.
speedy,
Right.
smaller dude. See, that's the spot for him. They tried to kind of see if he could be a second receiver. I always thought he's a great slot third receiver.
Right.
He's
Right.
quick. You know,
Right.
I love those quick slot guys because they can
Right.
take one across the middle of the field and take it to the house. So
real quick before we move on, just addressing. I know, as you said, you lost Najee. Is it looking like Warren's going to be the number one, or you're going to draft somebody?
I think they'll draft a guy. And one thing you can relate to is I think with the running back position, it's plug and play. If you find a good rookie running back, you guys had Ezekiel Elliott lead the league in rushing his rookie year.
Right.
Kareem Hunt, has led the league in rushing his rookie year. We've seen young quarterbacks come in the league and have an impact right away. Saquon Barkley, like a lot of these guys. So I'm not too concerned. I think there's plenty of running backs in this draft. Even if you start the season with Warren, who I actually do like. Obviously, I'm a guy that's seen every carry he's ever had in the NFL. I think he has the level of explosiveness, good field vision. I like him. I think I would definitely give him a shot to at least win that starting job. But yeah, they'll just draft a guy. The Najee move, one, wasn't surprising, and two, I think it was the right move. I don't think you can justify giving him a new deal when he didn't necessarily get better year to year. And that wasn't all his fault either. The run protection hasn't been great, but I think it was time to move on.
Gotcha. Speaking of moving on, we're going to move on to my team.
Ooh, speaking of moving on.
Yeah, now.
Do you have anything good to say? Every time we talk
Cowboys. Okay, hold on. Before I get into it, I am going to have a couple positives, right?
Okay.
Now, a lot of it is negative because I'm just going to be honest, right? So let's start with, look. Let's start with the positives first. So, we'll start on a positive note.
Good.
They did more this offseason than they did last offseason.
Didn't do anything last year.
Yeah, they signed one guy last offseason. So this offseason they signed about 8 players, right?
Okay, that's good.
I'm like, okay, cool. All right. Now, a lot of the guys I have never heard of. I don't know. A lot of people even that were covering the team had never heard of. They were like, who are these dudes? So now to start with the positive, I love the Dante Fowler signing.
That's a good signing. That's a good signing. He's a good veteran.
Sacks. I thought he was a productive player with us. You know what I mean? I know he had some injuries when he was with us, but I love that signing. So I think him, because he can replace DeMarcus Lawrence. You know what I mean? He's another edge guy.
Who kind of dissed y'all on his way out.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, so I love the Dante Fowler, and that's been the best signing so far that they've had. I also like the signing of Javonte Williams. I know he's been hurt, but he was really pretty productive for Denver. The last time he played us, he actually killed us when he played us. I think he had over 100-something yards about 2 years ago. But I know he got hurt. I think he tore his ACL. And but he's still young. I think ultimately, if they don't draft a running back, I think he will end up being the one. Because they did.
And I like Rico Dowell as like the change of pace guy.
Well, Rico Dowell's gone. He signed with the Panthers.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah, he's gone. So we signed, which is funny. So we signed Miles Sanders, who was on the Panthers last year.
Oh, right, you guys did. So who had kind of a disappointing year with the Panthers.
Yeah, because remember they signed him for like a multi-year deal, and then they end up cutting him because the rookie Hubbard ended up showing out.
Yeah, Chuba Hubbard.
I'm sorry, Hubbard. You're right. He ended up showing out, so he pretty much lost his starting spot. I think more than likely he's going to be a backup. He's just more there to be a backup. Because I think they're going to start Javonte Williams. You know what I mean?
And Chuba's actually been with the Panthers for a couple of years.
Oh yeah,
he had like his.
Remember when Miles when he signed with it? It was a multi-year kind of deal.
Yeah, I thought that was like a good move. I was like, ooh, I like this move. He didn't do anything.
Yeah,
but the whole offense was. Their offense was putrid. Like the first.
It was. Yeah, but I think he's a good backup. Like he's a good 2 guy. If they don't end up drafting, because I think Javonte, even though I know he split time in Denver. with the I forgot.
I actually like Javonte Williams a lot in Denver when he got drafted. He's a very physical back.
Mm-hmm.
He had that I believe it was like an ACL or
Yeah, it
Achilles
was
injury.
bad. Yeah,
It was bad. So he kind of lost some of his explosiveness. But he's a good guy. I don't know if he's a starter, like you said, but I think he's a guy that can come in and really get physical between the tackles type of guy.
Well, no. So I was going to say, if they don't draft a running back, yes, I agree with you that he's more of a 2.
Yeah.
He's a good change of pace. If they don't, and I don't, all reports are, look, obviously everybody wants them to draft Jonte from Boise State.
Uh-huh.
Right. That's the guy they want to. That's the guy that everybody wants.
Ashton Jeffrey.
I'm sorry, Ashton Jeffrey. I'm sorry, I said Jonte. Yeah, Ashton Jeffrey.
Genty, sorry, Genty, not Jeffrey.
Genty, right. Now, you know how the Cowboys are. Anybody we want them to get or draft, it normally doesn't happen. So that's what everybody's saying they should do. I don't know if that's going to happen because now they're saying the Raiders are now a strong team to get them. So we'll see. But I would say if they don't draft one, I would say Javonte would probably be the one. And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Just because, again, like you said, when we first drafted, before the injury, we saw how good he was, right?
Some flashes for sure.
Right. I don't know if he can get back to that. Miles Sanders, I mean, like I said, at this point, he's a backup. He's a
good. One thing I like about Sanders, though, he's a good receiver.
He is out of the backfield, right? And he's a good blocker too, a good blocking running back. So yeah, so I think he's more of a backup, like if it ends up being Javonte and him, yeah, he's the 2 guy. So I don't really, I'll go on a limb and say I don't really have an issue with those because again, if they don't draft a running back or they don't draft a running back, they see that it's going to start. I'm okay with that because, like you said before, with the Steelers, in this league now, it's kind of plug. You know what I mean? Plug in, and hopefully your offensive line is good enough to kind of because Rico Dow got over 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Quiet, yeah, he did.
Yeah, very quiet, but he got over 1,000 yards. So yeah, I mean, I'm not upset at those signings. And I also like the signing the offensive lineman they got from the Dolphins. I think it's Robert. I don't know his last name, but I was just watching some highlights, and I know their scheme was different in Miami with under Mike McDaniels, but he seems like a pretty good lineman. So those are probably the 4.
Robert Jones.
Robert Jones, yes, I like that one. Now let's get to the bad. I don't know who this dude Peyton, the guy they got from the Saints. I don't think he played a lot. He was like,
what's his position?
He's a defensive end. Hold on, let me look these up. I'm sorry. Let me get the.
That's all good. I got you back too.
Yeah. But some of these guys, I'm like, I don't know who they were. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know who some of these guys were.
Is it Peyton Turner?
Peyton Turner, yes.
Peyton Turner. Okay. So, I've never heard of him.
Exactly. Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
But just because I hadn't heard of a guy, it doesn't mean that they weren't potentially productive. I don't really know what his numbers were, but
they weren't great. I mean, he's played in at least 2 or 3 seasons. I mean, he doesn't have. I mean, he's not like he has a lot of sacks or anything. You know what I mean?
To me, if you're a good run stopper, sacks don't always tell the story of your productivity.
Right.
If it's a guy that's a good run stopper, and I guess Brian Schottenheimer has described him as a violent player, which is a good thing to be. If you're ever going to be violent, it should only be on the football field.
Right. That's true. Yeah. And I don't really know much about this guy. I know they traded for him, Murray from the Titans. I mean, they're ranting and raving about him. They got I think they traded for him for it was a 5th round pick.
What's his first name?
I'm sorry?
What's his first name?
His first name, I think it's Kenneth Murray Jr., if I'm not mistaken.
Kenneth Murray Jr. Let me see.
Yeah, I think it's Kenneth Murray Jr.
He's a linebacker. Okay.
Yeah, they traded for him from the Titans. So I'm like, okay, here's all their signings. So I'm looking at them now. Yeah. They got, Kenneth Murray Jr. they traded for. Khair Alim, he was a first-round pick, but he was kind of a bust because, with the Bills, first of all, in that championship game, he looked awful. He was getting done by the Chiefs in that championship game. So I don't know about him. Like you said, Peyton Turner, I didn't know much about him. I know he's kind of like you said, a violent, what Shoddy said. Solomon Thomas, at one point I thought he was a decent player. I think
he's shown flashes. He's been kind of a flop, but he's still a dude that can definitely show some flashes.
Right. And then they picked up this linebacker, Zach Sanborn. I don't really know much about him from the Bears. I know he has a relationship with Eberflus. He was a starter for the Bears last year.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I understand we haven't heard about some of these guys, but I feel like they're making moves, and maybe they're making good budget moves. Like, because let's be real, some of these guys are going to end up being solid for you guys. Like, they're not all going to be like flops. You know what I mean?
Right. And then the guy I really never heard of is the last guy they signed, this wide receiver Paris Campbell, who played on the Eagles. I've never.
He used to play on the Colts too. He sounds familiar. Paris Campbell.
Yeah.
Look him up. Paris Campbell.
But yeah. So look. I mean.
He did. I know him. He played He played on the Colts for his first 4 seasons. Showed some. I remember him. So I'll give you the little breakdown. He showed some flashes of like third receiver potential.
Okay.
He was good hands.
No.
I feel like you guys haven't had a really dope number 2 receiver in a while though. Like, when's the last time you had a dope number 2?
Yeah, you're right.
I was never a big...
So the rumor is that they don't get Jeffrey, that they're going to probably draft a receiver to go alongside with.
Yeah, because I was never a big Gallup dude.
Oh yeah, speaking of news, I know we're recording this on a Thursday. He came out of retirement. He's signing with the Commanders.
He retired? No, I did not know that. I did not know he
did. So he had signed with the Raiders last year, and then retired right after he signed with them. And then now, as of today, today it was official. He signed with the Commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but back to Paris Campbell. Yeah, he's like a good number 3. He has pretty good hands, so that's he's pretty dependable.
Yeah, because they're saying they don't really know. They don't know if Jalen Tolbert's really a 2, because we drafted Jalen Tolbert. He showed flashes that he can be good, but he's not consistent. You know what I mean? He's inconsistent. So they're looking for somebody that can be consistent with CD. Even though, look, CD's going to get a lot of balls, a lot of targets. You know what I mean? Whoever ends up being a number 2 is probably going to know that. But it's good to have a number 2 when they're going to double and triple CD, to have somebody that can still be productive. You know what I mean?
I think you guys got to start utilizing Jake Ferguson more too, man. He's a good tight end.
Yeah.
I feel like he probably had 1 or 2 touchdowns last year. I know Dak got hurt too, but he has the potential to be statistically a top 5 guy. I really do believe that.
Okay.
So I think he needs to get a lot more involved. And I know Dak likes him, so I know you like him too.
I did. So the year before last, I know he was hurt this year, but I did. I thought to be honest, I thought this past year he was going to kind of have a breakout year, going to be in that, he's one of the best tight ends in the league kind of thing. But yeah, he got hurt, and then when he came back, he just wasn't the same. I mean, obviously Cooper Rush was the backup, they didn't really seem to have a chemistry or really get really in tune. And also congratulations to Cooper Rush for all the great backup years. He's with the Ravens now. Shout out to our boy B. Rice. He's obviously happy about that. He hopes he never gets on the field, but he's a great backup.
Yeah, you don't ever want your backups to get on.
Yeah, but I would say Cooper Rush is one of the best backups in the league. So really good pickup, and I loved what he did for us, while he was with Dallas. So
the only time I want to see if the backup is in the game, the only way that's good is if we're blowing the other team.
Right, there you
we're
go.
up 30.
Yeah, there you go. But getting back to what you said about Dallas and the being budgety, I'm just not. I don't understand how. Back when Jerry Jones in the heyday, when we were still good, but even though we weren't, getting to the NFC Championship game, he was still paying for big time free agents. He would go get those guys. I don't get now why he's just totally changed philosophy of trying to be cheap.
It's a very conservative approach.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go get big names. He wants to do this whole draft and then be loyal to those players and then take care of them and grow. But a lot of players
I don't mind that to an extent, though.
Say it again?
I don't mind that to an extent.
Yeah, I don't mind that, but here's the thing. You only keep doing that if you had success winning. It's okay, it's produced NFC championships, right? Or you got to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying you have to win a Super Bowl, but you've been consistently winning in the playoff. It hasn't proven that. So my thing is why do you keep doing that? And it hasn't proven on the winning side. You're just doing it just to do it now. And it's almost like he doesn't care. I get it. Look, he's 80-something years old. And maybe he's just at the point of his life where he's I'm going to just do what I want. You know what I mean? But Dak and CD both adjusted their salaries so they can open up, cap space this year.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is okay, they did that for you so you could go get guys like a Cooper Kupp or Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs, some of these receivers that are known that could still be productive and play. I just don't understand the thinking of what they're thinking of. Like, now maybe it is because, they quote unquote, everybody else says, oh, the Cowboys do draft well. Maybe they're just focused on the draft and they're saying, well, we'll get all that stuff in the draft, like running back, receiver, anything we need, we're going to get in the draft. Because that's right now, that's all they can do, because it doesn't look like they're going to sign any more players. I mean, they've signed like 7, 8 guys already.
I'm assuming they're trying to leave some money on the table for Micah too.
Yeah, but that was the whole thing. The whole thing was why Dak and CD did their adjustment wasn't just going to give them cap space so they could sign people, but was for the Micah thing. And that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. They're doing the same thing they did with Dak and CD. Like, they still haven't signed Micah. It looks like this is going to get to like the last hour, like last year, where we got close to training camp, or what was it, like a couple days before opening day, and it's like, oh, we're going to sign him. I don't get the thinking here. Like, it's just a lot of stuff they do doesn't make a lot of sense. And a lot of stuff they've done to this point, it hasn't really produced winning. It hasn't like, oh, these are results of it. Like, they have nothing to show for it. So I'm just not understanding the same thing over and over again when it's not producing on the winning side.
Yeah, it's the Steelers have kind of underwent that too with like Omar Khan, their GM that's been there for a couple of years now. Like, they've become a lot more aggressive. Like, remember, we were never getting guys like DK Metcalf, and like we were never like really doing that. Now they're deciding to kind of like strike big and like go after big name guys. Whereas for a long time as a Steeler fan, a lot of the teams were built through the draft. Polamalu, Hines Ward, BC Hampton, all these guys were draft guys. So hasn't really worked out so far. It's still kind of early in Omar Khan's tenure, but we'll see. I mean, nothing's going to really change until they get the quarterback right. Like, they got to find a quarterback. Right. Since I've known you pretty much, we never really needed one. Had Big Ben all those years, and then all of a sudden you're getting through your Kenny Pickett's and your Fields. I mean, I thought Fields should have worked out, but it is what it is at this point. But no, I understand your frustration. It's almost like, why aren't we being more aggressive?
Right, because they have the money. Like, don't get me wrong, they had the money to sign like a Cooper Kupp, sign someone like I remember Charvarius Ward was out there. Greenlaw, like, go get those guys. Like, and you still had that money. With that money, you still could have used it to then still sign Micah. Like, make the team better. Get guys that are proven that in this league have been Pro Bowlers or been productive, that know you can play. I don't know a lot about these guys. We'll see. Hopefully, like, you're right. Maybe they need some hidden gems.
Yeah, there'll be a couple of hidden gems, and some of them will be bad. It's just a numbers game ultimately.
Right, it is, right. So we'll see if some of these guys pan out. Like, you're right. Maybe a half or maybe a little less than half pan out than they got, and that's good. No problem. But is that going to produce more wins for us? Is that going to get us to the playoffs? Are we going to be, if we get to the playoffs, is that going to create more success? That's really what ultimately this is all about. Because if it doesn't do that, it's really all for naught. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but
now you got to deal with another team in that division. The Giants are going to stink, but like now the Commanders are a factor. Before it was just you or the Eagles. Now it's like, man, you got to deal with the Commanders team that just got Debo. Now we know Debo's a little injury prone, but when he's on the field, he can be very productive. So that's going to be a scary team.
Oh yeah, and you're coming off the year. I mean, McLaurin had his best year last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that could be, if they're healthy, that could be one of the best duos in the league.
Now, we know the Giants are going to be bad, though.
Oh, yes, yeah. I mean, there's reports that, they might go after Kirk Cousins, that they still might get Rodgers, and then I know, like I said, Russell Wilson's in the mix. I don't know if that's even going to help, to be honest with you. We'll see.
They just need to draft Shador and just try to groom him.
Right.
That's their hope, man.
Yeah, gotcha. But let's move on, man. Let's move on to the NBA. We're down to the home stretch of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, we're not in the playoffs yet, but I think it's like 17 games left. Yep. But we're, pretty much next month we're gonna, playoffs start. Just give me your feel. I mean, we're gonna talk about the Lakers here. I know obviously LeBron's been out. Luka and the company's kind of been holding it down. It didn't start up really good when he first went out. They lost, a few in a row. But they started to kind of, pick up the pace and get, win lately. So just give me your feel of them going into the playoffs. I think right now they're like the fourth.
They're the third seed right now.
They're the third seed right now.
The Rockets, but it's so close. There's like
they've been flip flopping. Yeah. Just give me your thoughts of like them down the stretch. Where do you ultimately want them to be seated? and then just talk about the health of how do you feel with LeBron coming back? How do you feel that's going to impact
Yeah.
you?
Well, just to speak about the NBA in general, like, look, we've had conversations about like how the game has changed. But I'll tell you what, man, I actually am really looking forward to this year's playoffs. I think there's a lot of cool storylines, like between the Celtics. Are the Thunder ready? Are the Cavs really going to be able to, go all the way? What about the Lakers? You still got the Nuggets, the
Right.
Bucks. Are the Bucks going to be a team that can make any noise? The Knicks, they're going to get healthier down the stretch. What are they going to do? So I'm really excited about this year's playoffs, man. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The Lakers, I'm pretty optimistic about, man. I feel good. I haven't really felt great about them in the last few years. Even the year they kind of surprised us in 2023 and got to the Western Conference Finals. I
Right.
wasn't confident they beat Denver. I mean, they ended up getting swept. But
Right.
I think Luka brings a whole nother dynamic to that team. He brings that extra chip. He brings that aggressiveness that I thought AD lacked at times. We know one thing: he ain't gonna be hesitant to put up shots. Luka, he's an interesting player. It's not always gonna be pretty. I mean, he went like 5 for 20 a couple nights ago, but then he'll have games where he drops 45. We know
Right.
what Luka's capable of, is all I'm saying. But
Right.
one thing I've liked about Luka since he's joined the Lakers is he's putting in a lot more effort defensively. We know how he was. he would just, the dudes like walk by him in Dallas, like, yo, what are
Oh
you
yeah.
doing?
I mean, you watched that finals last year. Jaylen Brown and Tatum were just
Yeah.
abusing him every time. It was a one-on-one. Matter of fact, they were running plays so they could get him in a one-on-one situation.
Yeah, so that wasn't great.
Bad.
Yeah, but one thing I like about Luka, man, one of the main things I like about him, he's such a great playmaker. Like his passing, like catching guys on the alley oop. Him and LeBron have developed a really good chemistry, and I think JJ Redick overall has just done a really good job with the rotation. There's been a nice little discovery with Jackson Hayes playing center. He's been a nice little addition, very athletic guy. You're going to get Rui Hachimura coming back. Austin Reeves has played really well, especially as a third option. He's been playing pretty good. So yeah, like and the West is interesting, right? Because OKC is the clear number one. After that, like we just talked about, there's a bunch of teams kind of jumbled up in that 2 to 5 spot. I don't think the Rockets are ready to make any noise. They're just a little too young. They're well coached, but they're a little young. The Nuggets are always going to be a factor, although the Nuggets, their bench is not good, and like defensively they struggle a lot of the time. So every team has their flaws, right? The Lakers lack size, but they are playing a lot better defensively as of late. The Clippers are the Clippers. Like,
Right.
Harden, not to diss them because Harden's actually having a pretty good year, and
Right.
Kawhi's been turning it on recently, but Norman Powell's having a good year. But I still don't know if I could see them getting past, like, I don't know if I could see them getting past the first round, honestly. But
Yeah.
I still have to say, man, I think they're the 6th, the 7th seed. They're kind of floating in that area right now because Minnesota has been playing pretty well as of late.
Yeah, because they got healthy. Because now everybody's back.
Yeah, Julius Randle's been playing a lot better.
Because they got healthy. Because he's always hurt. So yeah, he's back.
Yeah, but even before when he was healthy, like they just really couldn't find a good chemistry with him. Now they're finding that chemistry.
Gotcha.
So I'm excited. But I say all that to say, like, I think the Lakers are going to have a chance to get to the conference finals. Like if they Memphis is another team that's kind of in the mix too. But a lot of these teams don't really have the experience of getting far in the playoffs. Excuse me. So the Lakers are going to be one of the more seasoned teams along with Denver. And we'll see how they match up with Denver. I think Redick has, in a short sample size, he's proved that, like, look, we're not going to be intimidated by these guys. And now we have Luka. It's kind of a different dynamic. You're not going up against the same team.
Right.
They're not going to be able to stop Jokic, but Jokic is going to get his. Jokic is Jokic, so I don't think that's going to make a big difference. But yeah, I think I'm expecting a conference finals run. I don't know if they're good enough to get to the finals, but I am. I'm optimistic about. I think it would be a disappointment if. I mean, they definitely can't lose in the first round. That'd be a major disappointment.
No.
Semifinals, we'll see how that breaks. But yeah, I say conference finals. I would be happy with that. Then we'll see.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think with the Lakers, it's all about the seeding, right? Like we have to see who they play. Because the only team I don't see them beating, and then obviously you could chime in and see if you agree or not, is OKC. That's the only team I cannot see them really matching up well with. First of all, OKC's so good defensively, so good. They have pretty much everything. They have the star player, they have a bench, they have size. I mean. Yeah. They have everything
really well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it really depends on who. Now they probably wouldn't meet OKC into the conference final because of where they're seated right now.
That's exactly why I was saying I think the conference finals could be their ceiling. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because The only thing is, I would say, is that they want to stay away from that 4-5 matchup because then you may see OKC in the second round. Because I think the Lakers will get past the first round, no problem. But if they end up being the 4, and remember they win, then they got to see OKC in the second round. I don't like the matchup. I just don't. You know, as good as Luka is, SGA is just as good, maybe better, right? Then,
right now, yeah.
Right. LeBron's gonna be LeBron. You know, he'll do his thing. But they're so good defensively. Like they're gonna be, you know, in a 7-game series, they're gonna be ready for that. And they're very hard to beat at home. The Thunder they're really hard to beat. I know Dallas and Luka and them went in last year and beat them. But remember, they were inexperienced. They were young. That was a lot of their first time in the playoffs.
And they were a surprise 1 seed. Like nobody expected that.
I think this year they're more motivated. They're more ready. They've gotten that experience. I think, you know, and remember, they weren't as healthy in that run because Chet was kind of
Chet was banged up. Yeah.
Exactly. Now he's healthy. So I just think it's a totally different Thunder team.
What do you think about Denver?
See, Denver's interesting. Like, obviously in past years, they've had your number, right? Like, this is the old Denver time. Like, yeah, Denver's going to be tough. I think you guys could get, if you were to meet Denver, because right now, Denver's the 4, so you guys are flip-flopping. And you guys are the 3. And, yeah, Denver's interesting. I agree with you that they're right. Their bench is not as good as it has been in the past. They're not as good as defensively. But, you know, Jokic is Jokic, man. In a 7-game series, you never know.
Well, what's Murray going to do? Murray is always
Murray kills y'all, right? And listen, I know people don't want to talk about Russell Westbrook. He's actually played well this year, coming off the bench with them. Like,
he's played well.
He can have a game or two where he just goes nuts, right? And it could be one of those games where you like, oh, it's a close series, and it's like that, you know, it's 2-2, and he has one of those games. Like he looks like that old Russell Westbrook. Because
another guy that's killed the Lakers too is Michael Porter Jr. He's very streaky. We know how he is.
Right. Yeah, Denver. Like I agree with you. Houston. I think they could beat Houston.
Yeah,
I don't trust Memphis. Now a wild card is Golden State because they've been playing so well. Because
that's a wild card to also get to the title.
Because Jimmy, they've lost 1 game since they've gotten Jimmy. 1.
They look good, man.
So like, Jimmy's changed that whole dynamic. So I mean,
great pickup.
Now that's a team I wouldn't want to play in the first. Like they're scary out, no matter what.
That's gonna be like they're gonna see a team like maybe like Houston or the Grizzlies potentially in the first round. They're gonna beat them. I think. I mean, they're probably
right now. You guys would play them in the first round. I don't. That's a scary match. Now I think ultimately you guys win that series.
That's a scary matchup.
That's a 7-game. That could be a 7-game series easily. Like,
that'd be a heck of a first. That'd be a heck of a series.
It would be.
That'd be fun.
7-game series because Jimmy's just changed that whole. Because here's the thing. Let's just say for a second argument that happens, and that's the first round matchup. They match up with you guys pretty well because Jimmy's probably either going to play Luka or LeBron, right? And you know, Jimmy's good defensive. Now he's not going to shut them down, but he's going to give them problems.
And you have freaking still Draymond. Like even if
Draymond is still Draymond, Steph is playing out of his mind lately. Like at least in the last month, he's been nuts. So. Yeah, man. I mean, I would say this. I hope the Lakers don't get that draw because I think that's a dangerous first round matchup.
I think that matchup is going to come really down to the role players. Like, what's Reeves going to do? You know, can Reeves continue to give you that? You know, he averages 19 a game. Can he give you that 19 to 25 points? Because he can if he can shoot the ball well, and you got a guy like Dalton Connect coming off the bench shooting the ball well. Rui, like the Steelers, the Lakers have a lot of pretty good shooters right now. Like years past, they haven't really had those shooters. So, very intriguing matchup, man. That's not a matchup I'd want to see early on.
Yeah, if I'm a Laker fan, I don't want that as a first round match because that's a hard out. Because again, in the second round, I give you guys a little more lead because you probably have to play the Rockets or Clippers or the Wolves. You could beat them, right? I feel like that's a.
You're not sold on the Wolves being like a dark horse.
No. Even though they're starting to get chemistry and getting healthy, I don't see them beating you guys. Especially even if they upset in the first round, I don't see them beating them. Like, they're not beating you.
It seems like overall you think you like the Lakers' chances to get to the conference finals.
I do. The only 2 teams I think that are scary are the Warriors and potentially the Nuggets. Those are only 2 that.
Yeah, Nuggets are always
stopping you would be those 2. Again, if you guys play the Thunder, I don't give you much of a chance. I
So
just
you
don't.
like the Thunder to get to the finals?
I do. Yeah, I like them to get to the final. Yeah, because I think if they played y'all, it'll probably be like a 6-game series. Like y'all win a couple games, but I don't even see it going 7. I think it's like a 6-game series.
Which one seed do you trust more, the Cavs or the Thunder?
The Thunder, I do.
Why is that?
The Cavs,
I like the Cavs a lot.
Yeah, I do. I like them a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think ultimately they beat Boston.
So you think it's more of a Boston factor as opposed
to... Yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. If they have to play a team like you mentioned the Bucks, who knows?
Bucks are so weird, though. Like I like them, but they're not good defensively. Like Lillard,
not good defensively, but there's kind of like that team that like you said, you don't know what you're going to get on a nightly basis. Like they can surprise you. Like, oh, okay.
They got arguably the best player in the league.
Right. You got, and then they got Dame. Right. So
they also have Doc Rivers.
Yes, they do. Which is maybe their downfall, to be honest. But with Dame and Giannis, you just don't know on a night-to-night basis what's going to happen, right? Because if they both are on,
they can easily drop the combined 65.
Exactly. And they can do that for 2 or 3 games and at least push you to that breaking point, right? They can push you to that 7 games, like, ooh, now it's going to a 7th game. So ultimately with the Cavs, I just don't like them against Boston. I just think Boston.
What about a team like the Knicks? Healthy Knicks.
No.
Why?
They don't. They haven't beaten anybody. You know, most of their wins are teams under 500.
The Bucks also haven't had success against good teams either, though. They haven't beat the Celtics.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, now we can go based off like experience. Like Giannis has been to the finals before. The Knicks don't really have any true. You know, they got to the semis, Game 7 in the semis last year, but the Knicks you just don't trust.
I don't trust them. No. No. It's like in the West. I was going to get to the team. Like I don't trust the Grizzlies. I know people been talking about the Grizzlies.
Nah.
I don't trust the Grizzlies.
Who do you trust more, the Grizzlies or the Rockets?
Or Duck Horse. I'm like, no, they're not. Like
Grizzlies or the Rockets? Who scares you more?
The Rockets because they're better defensively,
and they're better, and they're well coached.
And they're well coached, right? That's more scary to have a well coached defensive minded team than a team that's more like, their highlights. You know, they jump out the gym, but they have no D and. They're they lose to bad teams sometimes. Like, what was that?
Yeah, Memphis is kind of weird.
Yeah, so I trust Houston a little more, but ultimately, man, I think it's going to be a Thunder Celtics finals.
Thunder Celtics.
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
I like the Cavs a little bit more than you do, and they've proven totally regular. We know regular season success doesn't always mean playoff success, but they have played well against the Celtics in the regular season too. Man, that's tough. I'm excited about the playoffs. It's it's not going to be Cavs Thunder. It just rarely happens where it's the 2-1.
Now I do want to see, to be honest with you, because this would be the great storyline: Cavs Lakers, LeBron playing against his old team, and then if the Cavs beat them, that would be
Cavs Lakers would be cool. What would be even cooler than that though? From a ratings,
some people in Cleveland will go nuts if they beat LeBron in the finals. So
from a ratings perspective, from a ratings perspective, though, how about Lakers and Knicks?
Oh yeah, LA, New York, of course. New York, or LA, Boston. Come on, either one.
Yeah, LA, Boston. I know we've kind of seen as I don't want to say recently, but it's been a minute.
Yeah, but that's still going to be. I mean, come on,
that's always big. That's
most watch. Yeah, but I would love. I'm not gonna lie to you. In a fan kind of way, I would love to see Cavs Lakers because I just think. The storylines are just right there for the taking. Like LeBron versus whole team.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, man. And then if Cleveland like I would still like the Lakers in the series, but if Cleveland was somehow to beat them, whoo.
You would like the Lakers in the series simply because if they got through the Thunder, they're gonna be ready.
Oh yeah, I would like them against the Cavs. I like them against the Cavs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the matchup I dream and that I want the most. Most of the time that never happens. And once you, like you said, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be Cavs Thunder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll probably be the Celtics. I think Celtics Thunder is.
You have a better chance Cavs Lakers than Cavs Thunder to me. I think that's a better.
That's interesting. Huh.
Yeah, but I think ultimately it'll probably be Celtics Thunder. Yeah, if I had to put my money in right now. Mm-hmm. So. But yeah, man, before we get out of here, obviously we're recording this show on Thursday. Today started March Madness. Everybody filling out their brackets,
we're not in it.
I know. Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, I know you guys don't really probably follow UNLV news, but we let go of our coach last week, so we're looking for a new head coach.
Dude, the Rebs haven't made the tournament since Dave Rice.
Yeah, it's a long
And
time.
Dave Rice never won a tournament game. So, dude, they haven't won a tournament game since Lon Kruger.
Yeah, that was what, 09? 09, I think.
You mean to tell me it's been 15 years since we won a tournament game?
Well, here's the thing, though. I will say this. Before 08, remember, we hadn't won a tournament game. It was like 10 plus years.
While.
Right.
It's been a while.
So they've kind of done this before. So this is not kind of like breaking news. You know what I mean? So right now, we just need to get a legitimate coach right now. Like, that's the focus. Just
what's Coach K doing? Get him out of retirement. What's Phil Jackson up to these days?
Nah, he ain't coaching the Rebs. Coach K would be a dream, but that ain't happening either. But,
no.
Yeah. But anyway, man, so yeah, the tournament started. Not gonna lie, neither me or Kwab watched a lot of college basketball.
We're not gonna front with y'all.
Yeah, we're not gonna front here like, oh, we know all the great players, great. I probably know a few players. I know more coaches and more teams that were good and that I'm rooting for. But I'll start off with you, man. What do you who do you think makes the Final Four and ultimately ends up winning it all?
So I'm gonna go with the 4 teams. I think the teams I know have been pretty good. That have they're well coached, have star power, have everything that kind of check all the boxes. And before I give you the Final Four, one thing we'll say about the Final Four, typically it's rarely like an 8 seed made it. It's usually the 1 seed, the 1 through the 4. Usually.
Right, it's always the top 4 seeds that make it.
Yeah, it's not going to be like, a 13 seed made it. Rarely.
Now, rarely also what happens is you should mention that all the ones make it.
No, that's not happening. There's going to be an upset somewhere.
Like all the ones. And I can't remember the last time all the ones made it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So I'm going to say, I know Auburn's a team that's been good all year. I'm going to say that they make it to the Final Four. I'm also going to say Florida. It's kind of cool seeing Florida kind of back in the mix of being like a true contender. Because I remember when I think we were out of college when Joakim Noah, when we were out of college at that point, right? Because that was late 2000s.
No, we were still in college when the Florida Gators.
What year did they win?
Yeah, we were still in college.
What year was that?
So
08, 07? I thought it was like 07.
One of the years was my last year. When we made it to the Sweet 16, we lost to them. That was their second championship.
That was their second year.
Right.
So that means they won it in what?
I was out of college. You were still there. You were still there.
So that means they won it.
My last year, it was their first time. That was their first championship. My senior year was their first championship with Joe Kim.
Okay, so they made it in. Okay, it was
06, 07, right? Then they go back to back.
07.
Right. That was 06, 07. They went back to back because 06 was my last year in college was their first championship. My first year out of college was their second one. I know you were still at UNLV.
So yeah, they really haven't been considered a team that can win it since then. Really, so like the mid 2000s. Right. So yeah, I think they're a team that can definitely get back. It's good to see them be.
So you said Auburn, Florida so far. Okay.
Auburn, Florida. I got to go Duke just because. I think they have the best player in the country, and he's going to be the number 1 pick. Flag, and I think he's the real deal. He's going to be really good.
Yeah, obviously the question is his health. I
think they can afford to have him. I'll be out for like a game.
Which they already said he would be. They said he'd be back though once he gets to like Sweet 16. Mm-hmm. Close to the down the stretch there. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'll go with Houston as the last spot. So I'll go with Houston to win it all. Just why not? I have no rhyme or reason why. I'm just picking Houston.
Gotcha. So I like Mike. I like Michigan State. I'm an Izzo guy. I've been an Izzo guy since we've known each other. They're the second seed. So I think they were in Auburn's bracket. So I kind of like them to beat Auburn in the Elite 8.
Okay.
Now, I agree with you with Florida, but I'm going with my heart with this. I've been rooting for the St. John's Red Storm this year. I'm from New York. Even though the school's in Queens, I'm from Brooklyn. St. John's hasn't been good since like the 80s. Like, what Pitino's done in that school. So their first year Pitino was there was last year. I think they won 18 games or 16 games, something like that.
UNLV's winning every year now.
Yeah,
like 18 and 16. Like,
right. I think that's what they were. They were like 18 and 16. Now this year they won 30 games. They were 30-4. It's one of the biggest NCAA basketball turnarounds in like.
There's a reason why Pitino's one of the GOATs, man.
Of course, yeah. I knew once they got him, he was going to turn that around. So I'm gonna go with St. John's as my other Final Four team. So I think it'll be St. John's, Michigan State in the first game. I didn't. I like Duke, like you said. I'm with Duke.
You
Yeah,
little
like you
inside
said,
joke.
best player in the country, Cooper Flag. I see when it comes to the NCAA tournament, you have to have these star players. Like the star players kind of rise in these tournaments. Like going back to Carmelo Anthony, you know what I mean? The Kevin Durant's. Even though I know Kevin Durant didn't win it, but in these tournaments, the big time players step up. Like these are where stars are kind of born, and then you see them obviously in the NBA become stars. So yeah, I think Cooper Flag when healthy. Yeah, I think Duke, makes the Final Four once he gets back. My other team, I know the one seed, I forgot what bracket is Houston, but I actually like Tennessee in that one, and I think they'll be in the Elite Eight. So it'll be Calvin Sampson versus Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes has done a hell of a job since he's got to Tennessee. He's also
Rick Barnes at Texas.
Right. He was yeah. He always had good players though. And he
had KD, right?
Yeah, KD, and then he went to the Final Four. Obviously, Melo kind of stopped him in the Final Four.
Melo stopped a lot of people.
He did, yeah. But I like Tennessee. I think Tennessee comes out of that bracket. So my national championship game, again, this is really I'm going with my heart, even though I don't think it's going to happen.
You think St. Joe's is going to?
I think St. John's goes to the national championship game, and it'll be St. John's versus Duke. But I like Duke. I'm with you. I like Duke to win it all. I just think Cooper Flag, like I said, the star player, the best player in the country. They also have other talent on that team too. And John Schneider, who took over for Coach K, has done a heck of a job since taking over. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Duke. I like Duke to win it all because I just think Cooper Flag will rise to the occasion and, like I said, come back healthy. I think he's gonna have a little bit chip on his shoulder coming back. So yeah, I like Duke. But yeah, we'll see with St. John's. Like I said. I don't know if St. John's will even get past Florida. That's my hope that they get to the national championship. But yeah, I don't see them win a national championship, but I think they can at least get to my heart says they can at least get to the title game.
A team that you used to really rock with when we were in college was North Carolina. Like that was a team that you
they had to sit down this year. So they had to actually play in a playing game this year.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah, they beat actually. It's funny, they beat San Diego State, who's in our division. But yeah, they've had a down year this year. To be honest, they're probably not going to get past. I don't know.
Maybe they'll get to the round of 32.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they get even to the next round. So, yeah, but that's who we like. Like I said, I know, again.
I got no rhyme or reason I'm picking Houston.
Like I said, a lot of it's my heart and just gut and, who I'm rooting for. But, yeah, like I said, I mean, I think we both like Duke. I think we both just have different teams going to the Final Four and in the championship game. But it should be, listen, March Madness is great. I love to sometimes having the game on in the background, watching an upset, watching a game that comes down. Like,
that's always great.
Yeah, it's one of the best times of the year, no matter what. Even if you're not really a college basketball fan, the games are awesome. Most of the games are always close and some kind of thriller. You know what I mean? So, and like we were talking about, so many upsets. It's rarely that a bunch of number ones all get to the Final Four, and that rarely happens.
Yeah, that's rare.
Yeah, so I think definitely tune in. It started today. I'm gonna watch some games probably when we're done here, just to have on in the background while I'm relaxing. Because, like I said, it's a great time of year. I've always loved March Madness. Whether I was really into college basketball that year, March Madness never disappoints. It's always a great time, great games, and you see the future stars of the NBA. Exactly. So that's another thing. Sometimes you get to know a lot of players in these tournaments, and you're like, oh yeah, when they get drafted, like I remember that kid from. I remember watching John Morant at Murray State. I had never heard of him, and I'm like, "Who's the John Morant dude?" And
he was
watching all that. Woo!
Yeah,
I remember seeing who was it? Who plays for the Pelicans now? Used to play for the Blazers.
Oh, CJ McCollum.
CJ McCollum when he was with
Lehigh.
Yeah, remember they upset Duke. Yeah, so you get to know some of these guys before they even get into the NBA. Obviously the big times like Zion's and you don't have to talk about those guys, when Zion was with Duke and we talked about KD, Carmelo, so you get to know these guys because, to be honest, I became a Carmelo fan while he was at Syracuse. I didn't really know much about him in high school. So when he got to Syracuse, I remember my freshman year, my sweet mate was a Kansas fan, and when they lost, and that's just people put a lot of oranges by her door when she lost.
I remember that.
But yeah, I became a fan, in college. So. Yeah, like I said, it's a great time of year because, again, you get to see the next superstars of the NBA, and yeah, just a great time. So
Yeah, I'll be tuning in, man.
no doubt, no
Tuning
doubt.
in.
But that does it for another episode of Brothers Got Next. We'll I'm a lot better now. I'm still not 100%, but we'll get back to the weekly shows, and we'll have another great one for you next week.
Peace.
Peace.